Let me ask you something. What would you do if you had $1 billion? Pay off your debt, buy a house, maybe two, travel, help your family, retire. Sounds simple, right? Now here's the thing nobody tells you. Some of the people who actually had $1 billion went completely broke. Not because they were stupid, not because they got unlucky, but because they forgot one of the most basic rules of money. Stay with me, because by the end of this video, you're going to understand something that most people, rich or poor, never figure out. Welcome back to Billion to Zero, where we study the fall of empires so you don't have to build one to lose one. Today, we're not talking about one company. We're not talking about one billionaire. We're talking about a pattern that shows up again and again, from Lehman Brothers to WeWork, from ancient Rome to modern Wall Street. And the scary part? This pattern doesn't care how much money you have. It has taken down people with $20 billion. It has destroyed companies that stood for 150 years. And if you're not careful, it will take you down too, even on a much smaller scale. So let's break it down. Why do people go broke? Even the rich ones? Reason number one, they start spending money they don't actually have. Here's something wild. Bill Hwang, you might remember him from our Archegos video, lost $20 billion in 48 hours. Not because he was spending it, because he was borrowing to invest. He had maybe $10 billion of his own, but he was controlling positions worth $100 billion. That's called leverage. And leverage is basically this. You're betting with a borrowed sword. You win? Great. You lose? They take everything, including the sword, including the hand that held it. This is not an exception. This is the story of almost every collapse we cover on this channel. Debt is the match. Ego is the gasoline. Reason number two, nobody around them says no. Think about this for a second. When you're worth $10 million, people still argue with you. Your accountant tells you to slow down. Your wife says maybe don't buy that third car. But when you're worth $10 billion, everyone in the room is nodding. Your assistant nods. Your banker nods. Your board nods. You say, let's open 500 new offices in 100 cities in 3 years. And everyone says, brilliant idea. That's what happened at WeWork. Adam Neumann genuinely believed he was going to live forever and become the world's first trillionaire. And nobody stopped him. When there's no one left to tell you no, that's the most dangerous place a human being can be. Reason number three, they confuse net worth with cash. This one is huge, and most people miss it. A billionaire on paper is not a billionaire in reality. Their wealth is tied up in stocks, in real estate, in companies, in things that can drop 80% overnight. And regular people do the same thing on a smaller scale. My house is worth $400,000. I'm fine. Until you need to sell it. Until the market drops. Until the mortgage comes due. Paper wealth and real wealth are two very different things. Reason number four, they put everything in one basket. SoftBank put $14 billion into WeWork. One company. One bet. One disaster. Lehman Brothers was 100% exposed to one market, real estate. When that market broke, there was nowhere to hide. No backup, no cushion, nothing. We're going to come back to this one at the end of the video, because this is actually the one you can do something about. Reason number five. And this is the big one. They stopped living below their means. At some point, they started living at the level of their best year. Not their average year, not a sustainable year. Their best, most optimistic year. And then they locked in that lifestyle. Big offices, private jets, multiple homes, staff, events, parties. And when the numbers changed, the lifestyle didn't. Because you can cut a budget in a spreadsheet, but you can't easily cut ego. So what's the lesson in all of this? It's simple, and it's old, and people keep ignoring it. Live below your means, not at your means, not right at the edge of what you can afford, below it. This isn't about being cheap. This isn't about not enjoying your life. This is about building a gap between what you earn and what you spend. That gap is your power. That gap is your freedom. That gap is what saves you when everything goes wrong. And things do go wrong, for everyone. The market crashes. The job disappears. The business has a bad year. A health issue comes out of nowhere. The people who survive those moments are not the ones with the most money. They're the ones who prepared when times were good. Warren Buffett still lives in the same house he bought in 1958. Not because he can't afford better, because he understands something most people don't. Your lifestyle is your biggest financial risk. Once you get used to spending a certain amount, it's almost impossible to go back. So don't start. Stay below. Build the gap. Protect it like it's your life. Because honestly, it is. Now, we promised you a bonus, and here it is. If there's one thing the collapses on this channel all have in common, besides ego and debt, it's concentration. All their eggs in one basket. SoftBank, one fund. Lehman, one market. Archegos, a few stocks, massively leveraged, all in. No backup, no plan B. I'm not going to tell you what to invest in. That's not what this channel does. But I will tell you a principle that's been around for centuries. Don't put everything in one place. Traders call it diversification. Farmers call it rotating crops. Your grandmother called it don't put all your eggs in one basket. Same idea. Different packaging. What this means in practice is simple. If one part of your financial life collapses, job, business, savings, something else is still standing. Maybe it's a skill you can sell. Maybe it's a small account untouched by the crash. Maybe it's a different type of asset that moves differently from your main income. The goal is not to get rich faster. The goal is to not get wiped out. Because here's the thing about getting wiped out. Losing 80% of your wealth doesn't just hurt financially. It breaks people psychologically. Marriages end. Health deteriorates. Decades of work gone. A spread-out approach to your finances won't make you the richest person in the room, but it might make you the one still standing when everyone else is calling their lawyer. And sometimes, that's the real win. Every empire that fell on this channel had one thing in common. They thought the rules didn't apply to them. The rules always apply. Live below your means. Build the gap. Spread the risk. That's it. That's the whole game. If this video made you think differently about money, even a little bit, hit that subscribe button, because we've got more stories coming, more empires, more lessons. Every empire falls. Now you know why. See you in the next one.